Alright guys, we're going to try to do this in real time. This is an iPhone 6s Plus white. First thing you want to do is just cracked. Everything's still working. You're going to want to turn it off. Take out these two pentalobe screws at the bottom. I'm going to take our Sesame tool. I'm try to get underneath. See if you can make a gap somewhere. Sometimes when the phone is cracked pretty good, it's pretty easy to find a gap. You can also take your heat gun and heat it up. In this case, I think we're going to be okay. Sometimes if it's in there a little too tight, the best thing to do is go ahead and get that heat gun out. You're going to open it up, not quite 90 degrees. Take out these two screws, which are going to release the battery connector, so we can make sure that the power is off in the phone. Take this out with your fingernail or a plastic pry tool. If I can't get in there with my fingernail, I'll take it off with the pry tool. Isn't that pretty good? Just gonna kind of pull that to the side so it doesn't make contact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws up here in the top. This is gonna release these. This holds down your cables to your LCD, your camera, and your digitizer, and the home button actually too. Like I said, I'm sorry, I'm kind of going kind of quick. I have a customer that just dropped this phone off, and I was working on a 7, so I'm kind of a little bit behind. But anyways, we're going to start down here at the bottom, the home button. Take off these two screws. Try to lay everything out the way that it was on here. You're going to pop this open, and you're going to get underneath this cable. You can push against the frame. Put this right there. Alright, I just had the customer come in, the one that dropped this phone off. So I was going to be a little bit more quieter, so I just stopped talking. But you're going to go ahead and take out the 3 screws on this side, on the right side, on the left side of the phone. And then up here at the top, there's going to be 1 as well. So you're really going to take out 4 screws on this side, and then you're going to bring it over here on this side, and you're going to take out 3 screws out of the frame. That way we can go ahead and release this screen. If you need to at any time, feel free to pause this video. I was just trying to go a little bit quicker because he dropped the phone off. I mean, I think I finished this in like 10 minutes, but he literally dropped it off and was back right away. So right here, I'm just going up to this camera, speaker, proximity sensor. There's 3 screws. We're just going to go ahead and take them off. And the same thing, we're going to lay them out exactly how we take them off. The one in the top left corner is going to be laid in the left corner, right corner, and so on and so forth. Now we're going to take the tweezers. We're going to get underneath the proximity sensor. If you can pull the plastic part off with it, go for it. That way you don't damage the sensor. And then you're just going to get underneath that little flex cable. And that one just popped right out. Now I'm going to take the new screen. Sometimes they come with tape. Some of the times these tapes are a little bit hard to get off. You don't want to take the tape off and ruin the flex cables or anything. Now you're going to put your heat shield on. Just kind of make sure you pop it into place. Up there in the top right corner, that first little screw, it kind of sits on the outside. So when you put that one in, all the others just kind of fall into place. And then you're going to go ahead and put 3 screws on this side. Kind of lock the screen to the frame. Like I said, feel free to stop and if you need to. Like I said, there was just a customer in the store, so I was trying to go quick. I didn't want to keep him waiting. And it's not always good to rush through these phone repairs. I've done this one quite a bit, and if I mess up, I have like 3 of these on hand, so I could put another one together pretty quick. But it's always a good idea to kind of take your time. Now we're going to line up this home button. On this home button, on the flex cable that it has, there's two little circle holes, and you're going to line those two little circle holes up on the frame. And on the frame, there's two little circle holes that kind of protrude. And so these little holes are going to fit exactly in on the camera, just on the home button, I'm sorry, just exactly right. And then once you do that, you're going to go ahead and take your little shield that goes over it. Like I said, these shields are there. They hold the home button down so you can get a real good click. And they also hold that little flex cable so it doesn't come loose if you drop the phone or anything. So it serves two purposes. And once you screw these down, you can get on the other side and kind of flip it. I looked like when I clicked it that screw was just a little loose, so I tightened it. You just don't want that home button loose on the customer's phone. So we're going to go ahead. There's a little bitty piece of adhesive up here at the top. I'm just going to pull it off. Some phones you order come with it, some you order don't. It's kind of a hit or a miss. The adhesive, you really don't need it. I'm going to take this camera, speaker, the proximity sensor flex cable, and I'm going to line it up. And just like the home button, it's got a little circle hole cut out. And on the frame, there's a little white circle, and you're just going to basically put those circles and line them up right. And when you do that, just connect the dots, it'll go in. And then you're going to take the proximity sensor, which is up top, and it has a little square hole. You're going to line it up and push it down, and you can kind of hear it click. And you'll put your speaker in, and the speaker has 3 or 4 little yellow gold dots. You just want to make sure those gold dots are touching the little gold prongs on the speaker. And that way you don't have any problems with the customer when they answer a phone call, the person on the other end not hearing them, or them being able to talk but not hear them. Screw those 3 screws in. I always flip the phone around and look at the camera to make sure that it's not off center or anything like that. That one looked pretty good. So now we're just going to take the screen and start connecting it to the frame. The first one is your digitizer LCD. The second one is going to be your camera, which is right there. And the first one I put down actually went to the home button. Now you're going to take this little face cover, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and you're going to screw this down. And like I said, all it is a little cover, sheet cover that goes over, that makes it where if you drop the phone, it keeps the connections real tight and they don't pop loose. You'd be surprised how many phones I open that somebody has repaired them before and that's not even there. You can leave it out and you can do this repair a lot faster. Same thing with the screws on the side. You could, instead of putting 3, you could put 2 on each side. Customer will never notice, but I mean, you might as well put them all back. But once you screw all those down, you're going to go down there to the battery. You're going to hook the battery up. You're going to put the cover over the top. This one only has 2 screws. This one on the left is a little bit longer than the one on the right, which if you look at it, you can tell why. But I laid them out that way, so I know exactly which one goes where. And if you lay these out just right, it'll make this repair 10 times easier. So right now all I'm doing is pushing the screen back together. Remember, up top you want to kind of leverage it in there because there's a little pinch point at the top. And once you pinch it all down and you feel like it's good, you can start putting in your penelope screws. Just go around the sides, make sure there's no little gaps. And if there is a little gap, you might have to lift the phone back up again and pinch it back down. But this one looked pretty good. Went ahead and turned it on. Always turn it on when I'm putting in the penelope screws, kind of like as the last thing. Now I'm going to put on the customer's OtterBox for them. I just test the home button, go into an app, open an app, make sure the home button's working, make sure the screen's working. And that's it. Always give the phone to the customer so that they can make sure that they can answer and receive calls, and always let them play around with the phone before they take off with it. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, this was real time. This video was just right under 10 minutes, so it doesn't take long to do, especially if you lay the screws out right and know what you're doing. So please leave me something comment something so I can know to make more of these videos or to stop. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.